number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Patrick Cristiano, your host, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs in New York City covering Broadway and off-Broadway theater. And today I'm coming to you from the Wainscott studio in Wainscott, New York. And I have a really special guest, my good friend, Jayne Sherman, the Broadway producer. Welcome, Jayne. I'm so glad you could come today.
I'm happy to be here, Patrick, always.
Thank you. Jayne is a Tony Award-winning producer, and she's had, let me go to my notes, because you won a Tony Award for Kinky Boots. Tell me what, Normal Heart, Hedwig and the Angry Inch. You won an Olivier Award for Kinky Boots, and Lortel this season for Fleabag.
Yes.
Did I cover them all, your awards?
You covered them all. You covered
but
them.
What we really want to talk about, in this season you had the Cher Show, which is closing August 18th, and just recently went to Broadway HD, so if anybody wants to...
No, Kinky Boots.
Kinky Boots, I'm sorry, right. Kinky Boots went to Broadway HD, and it's the London version of Broadway HD.
It's the London cast.
It's the London
Wonderful cast. Wonderful. It's the original London stars.
And we also had Burn This season.
Yes.
Fleabag, which was off Broadway at the Soho Playhouse.
And a sellout. And we're actually going to the West End the end of the summer. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's an amazing talent, has decided that she's going to take it home again one last time. And we're sold out there already.
She was terrific. I loved it.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
And then you have two films, Liberté, a Call to Spy.
Yes.
But I love the other title. What was it called before?
It was was originally called Miss Atkins' Army because it's the story of, and it's a true story, of women who served as spies during World War II, and they were not in the service. They were civilians. And the British SOE recruited them, and this story is told through the eyes of the woman who headed that operation up, as well as an American spy based on a real woman, and Virginia Atkins, and an Indian woman. And it's a remarkable story about women and the impact they had. In fact, Virginia Atkins was at one point considered the most dangerous spy in Germany.
Wow. And you have another film too, right?
Yes, Tume Monk, which is opening at Outfest next week.
What is Outfest?
Outfest is in Los Angeles, and it's going to do the festival circuit. And although it's a French title, it's a story in Spanish and English with Oscar Martinez and José de Palma, who most people know from the Spanish films. And it's the story of, essentially, of the father of and the former partner of a young man of privilege and comfortability who can't cope with his life expectations that the family has put upon him. And he kills himself, and this happens really before the story
starts. Just out of
starts.
expectations that the family
Well,
put?
because of the pressures of the expectations and his sexuality. And so it opens with his former partner, who's been trying to find him online, and his father, who gets his possessions, and he opens the computer, and they begin a dialogue. And it's based on a play where it was essentially the two of them, but for the film, we opened it up, and the father comes to Brooklyn, and he wants to find out more about his son's life and friends. It's a very
it's a beautiful,
touching,
like a beautiful story.
Yes.
And will that have a national release?
I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will.
So you are a really busy lady. But there are two big things you want to talk about, the Great Society and The Sound Inside, which are
Yes.
2 plays coming
Both coming very soon this fall.
Yeah, let's talk about The Great Society, which you're doing with Jeffrey Richards.
Yes.
Is it?
It's a very exciting project. If you remember All the Way, which won the Tony, and a Tony for Brian.
Yeah, before you start, let's show the little clip because it'll
Sure,
give everybody a little
sure.
idea of what you're talking about.
Okay.
So let's show the clip for the Great Society, if we could. Oh, I forget we can't see it.
It's okay.
We'll just come back when it's over. I was going to use this to refresh me too.
From the creators of the Tony-winning
Another
best
show.
play, All the Way, comes The Great Society, the new play about the LBJ legacy. On Broadway, 12 weeks only at Lincoln Center. Tickets now on sale.
12 weeks only at Lincoln Center. It starts previewing.
It starts previewing the 6th of September, and we open October 1st. But the exciting thing is, this is only the 3rd time in history that Lincoln Center has let a commercial production come into the Vivian Beaumont.
Wow.
So it's a big deal. And we have Brian Cox to star as LBJ.
And this is like a continuation of the
It's a continuation. It's not really a sequel. It's the latter years. It's a very exciting, chock-full of activity time in history during the Civil Rights Movement, the angst of the Vietnam War, and there'll be 17 actors doing 50 parts. It's going to be quite epic, and a wonderful cast. It's still in formation, but we have Richard Thomas, and we have Frank Wood. We have, I'm going to use my notes because I have so much going on.
How could you remember all this? It's
Bryce
impossible.
Pinkham,
Oh, I love him.
Gordon Clapp, Mark Kudish.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
These are all Broadway
Grantham
veterans.
Coleman, and so, as I said, we're still casting. It's the same creators. Robert Schenkman, directed by Rausch, and it's, I think, going to be very dynamic.
Has it ever been done before?
Yes, it's had some tryouts elsewhere, and it's gotten wonderful response.
But no one's ever seen the full production like this.
No.
Like it's going to be
No.
at Lincoln Center.
Yes, this is a Broadway production, all the way. And Lincoln Center's been wonderful.
Yeah, I opened up my computer today because I was doing things and I had a blast. Didn't know anything about this show until last week when I asked you to come on. Today I'm coming on the show and I get these blasts all about the Great Society. So I think it's cool. We're being very timely here.
Yes, indeed. In fact, today, I think tickets go on sale today. We gave, Lincoln Center wanted a several-day window for their subscribers to have first shot.
Which they
So
should.
we were happy to do that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes.
So do you want to talk a little bit about The Accidental Wolf, your other film, before we go over
Sure.
to
The Accidental Wolf it's actually not a film, although it could become one.
I'm sorry.
It's
series.
a
Yeah,
short
explain
form
it.
series.
Because I didn't know what a short form series was.
Short
you
form
told me.
series is very new, and it's for platforms that are handheld or cable or other venues. And what it really means is that you are not confined by any time constraint. So the episodes can range from 15 minutes to a half an hour or anything in between or a little
but
over.
What is The Accidental Wolf?
Okay, it's a social justice thriller, and it's written and directed by Arian Moayed.
It's a social justice. What?
Well, it's the story of a woman played by Kelly O'Hara, as you've never seen her before, who is the
When you
one.
say never seen her before, what are we?
Well, this is a very dramatic part. This is not a musical. Although there's talk that in season 3 we may have her sing something, but, and she's surrounded by a wonderful cast of Broadway A-list people. She and her husband have just come home from an evening at some event, and she has taken care of her baby, and the phone rings, and it's a wrong number, but it's a wrong number from overseas. And she hears gunfire and shots in the background, and there's a man who's trying to reach a doctor, and she's trying to explain that it's the wrong number. And it's the story of how that wrong number affects her life and her family's life forever going forward.
Oh, wow.
It's really a thriller, and she's quite remarkable. And there are a number of people who have roles in it, including Dennis O'Hare and Laurie Metcalf and Jayne Hudashil, and the list
wow,
goes
you
on
have-
and
you
on.
have everybody from Broadway. That's cool.
So theaccidentalwolf.com will give more information about that.
And so how many episodes is it?
We have 2 seasons. They're 10 episodes each. We have 2 seasons shot, a third one planned.
And people will just have to find out about that, however
Well,
they find
it'll get advertised as we find our next venue.
So nothing's been broadcast on it yet?
Only limited on our website so that we could get some data and
So
some
where's your website?
demographics.
Tell the-
Theaccidentalwolf.com.
Okay, so you can find out about this there, theaccidentalwolf.com. It sounds like a lot of fun.
It is.
So now, let me see, what else you have going on here that I have to get
The
to?
Sound Inside.
The Sound Inside. Is there something else, too? Is there another film? Because we want to save Sound Inside for last. Is there something else I wanted to talk about? I guess The Sound Inside. Now, this is by Adam Rapp.
Yes, it is.
A prolific writer
Yes.
that never stops. And
It's going into Studio 54. Again, it's a commercial production. It's not a roundabout. And Lincoln Center is actually partnering with us on this production. So this is a great season for me in Lincoln Center.
so Lincoln Center is wow. Who's the contact?
Mary Louise Parker is coming back to Broadway, and Will Hockman is with her. It's a 2-hander. It's a hard one to talk about without giving too much away. It's also a thriller of sorts. She plays a college professor. He's a gifted student, and it's in some ways about their relationship. It's not sexual.
Now, what
It's-
was the real hook on this? Is it Adam's play that's really dynamite?
It's beautifully written, yes. It's beautifully written, but it's a very unique story.
And where's it set?
It is contemporary, and it is set on a college campus.
Anywhere? It doesn't.
New England, I would suspect.
And is it today,
Yes,
2019,
very contemporary.
and something extraordinary happens?
Yes, something in its earlier versions, people are literally sitting on the edge of their seats. It's gotten critics' pick.
Earlier versions
just-
were done.
I believe there was one at Williamstown last year, and one prior to that. But it's a unique kind of thriller.
So how
It's
did
not
you come
scary. Through Jeffrey Richards.
to it? Okay. So he's doing this one too?
Yes,
So you got 2 projects with Jeffrey
with him and
Richards.
with Lincoln Center.
Oh, wow, that's cool. This sounds like it's a lot of fun.
It is.
Uh,
It is.
Did
No
you,
intermission.
No in-
Short, 95 minutes.
and where
100
where
minutes.
will it be?
At Studio 54.
Oh, you told me that earlier.
That's
I'm
okay.
sorry. I'm trying to juggle too many.
You know, it's a good
facts.
time for plays right now. Plays have done very well last season, and I think that'll continue. Particularly ones that spark people's interest. And I think these are 2 plays, this and The Great Society, that people will really want to see.
Well, The Sound Inside, I saw the clip earlier, and it's really short. It's only 30 seconds, but it had me like, whoa. And you wanted to go get a ticket. What is this about? Especially if you're a Mary Louise Parker fan,
Yes.
or any of these people involved in it.
Well,
or
it's
even,
very hard to tell you what it's about, because it's about their relationship, and I don't mean sexually, about as a teacher and student, but there's some very unexpected turns.
and can you tell us what she teaches? What the subject matter is, or no?
I don't think that's the issue.
Okay. So we have a 30-second clip, and we want to save it till the end of the show, because we're not sure we're going to get the clip in time to edit it in, and if we don't want to have blank dead space. So,
But people will find it online.
but you can find it online, yes. But we're going to put it at the end of the show, and we hopefully will get it later today. So we have some time. We have about 10 minutes. What else would you like to talk about? Some of your projects that we didn't hit on, because we kind of skimmed things a little bit.
We did.
I didn't plan to do it quite that way. I planned to save the movies for the end. And would you like to talk a little? Fleabag is going to go on television too, I think.
Well, it is on television. It's an interesting history behind Fleabag. It started as a short play at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, written by and starred in Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who's an amazing talent. People might also know her from Killing Eve.
I had never seen her before, but what she did was really extraordinary too.
So when she did this there, the BBC picked it up and made a series out of it. And then Amazon picked up the series
So
from BBC.
the BBC did a series on Fleabag.
Based on the...
And how many episodes was that?
It was 2 seasons. 2 seasons. The second season just aired recently, and that's it. And so she had always wanted to come to the New York stage, and we brought it over here. Annapurna Pictures to the Soho Playhouse, sold it out.
Yeah, I saw it. That's where I saw it.
It was the hottest ticket in town, off Broadway.
And she won an Off-Broadway award, a Lortel Award, correct?
A Lortel Award, and it's just wonderful. So she was pretty much finished with this. She's got other projects going, and now she's decided that she'd take one more hit in London and would like to go to the West End, and so we're going into the Wyndham Theatre at the end of August for a 4-week run, and it's sold out as well.
Will you go out for the opening?
I will indeed. I will indeed.
How cool. Will you go alone?
No, Debbie will go with me.
So you'll just the two of you?
Yes. I mean, there'll be others from the producing team, I'm sure.
No, but I meant, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you could make it a little honeymoon too, huh? So,
I love any opportunity to go to theater in London, so.
who doesn't?
Yeah.
It's like another vacation, getting out of the country too.
Yes.
Being able to do that. We are, and tell me a little bit more about A Call to Spy. Did we cover all that?
I think we covered that pretty well, but you know, if we talk a little more about the Great Society, I think it's very timely. You know, we're a little over a year out from the presidential elections.
And because LBJ at this time was really trying to create a society where he would be helping everybody.
Everybody. And it really takes a look at how difficult it is.
And yet not being socialist, right?
Right. Well, you know, it's a relative term. People want their Medicare and people want their Social Security, which technically could be considered socialism, so it's all in nuance. But he was looking to really do some good work. And there was the civil rights movement at its peak. There was all the angst and demonstrations about the Vietnam War. And it takes a deeper look at what's involved to make these programs work and how to legislate, how to get things done in Washington. So it's very, very timely right now.
Yeah, because we're really having a story.
And the roadblocks one.
We have someone that doesn't want to do that at all, and we have other people.
And we have a Senate that sort of backs that up, and a House that's trying to do things. So that's a little different, but I think that this story is something that will interest people and perhaps give them some hope.
You know what's fun to talk about a little bit? Your production company.
Mm-hmm.
Because how did you get started producing, and what I mean, like, you started a long time ago, and you actually influenced my life by a show that you produced called In the Life, when I was having a conflict about who I was and coming out, and I saw the show, and I thought, oh my God, there are other people, and I had no idea at the time. And it was a lifeline for me, is what it was. What made you?
And for many young people, I think, when it was the only thing out there. In the Life Television, which people may not know, was a nonprofit monthly TV show of, by, and about LGBT people. The first of its kind, long before there were a number of LGBT characters in TV or major films at that point. And they were all true stories. It started out in its infancy as a half an hour in a studio, kind of just comedy and discussion, but it evolved into a news format, not unlike CBS Sunday Morning, except that we had less budget for the year than they probably do for one episode. It was actually Emmy nominated at one point, but it really was a lifeline for people. It was on a number of PBS channels, which we had to take care of. In other words, we didn't get PBS funding. We were under their auspices so that we could be beamed up, but we had to go city, town at a time to get them to air us.
Was that a challenge too?
Oh, it was a great challenge. You know, sometimes they'd air us, but they'd air us at 2 o'clock in the morning. And in its early days, there were video recorders, but they weren't that prevalent. And so part of the job was to get into better time slots and all of that.
So was this your first foray into producing, or did you done something before this?
It pretty much on this kind of level, the first foray on this kind of level.
And how long did it take you before you started to branch out doing other things?
Well, it was a different time then. It was after there was a time then when it didn't work to continue that show, and so we gifted it to the UCLA library, to the UCLA library, the Legacy Project, where they have now converted all 21 years of that program.
That's how many years you did it, 21?
I did it about 15.
Okay, and then...
And they also have all of the B-roll. So there's a historic video representation there that exists nowhere else. And it's available for students and educators and filmmakers and documentarians to access.
Do you have to actually go to the location to view it?
No, you can do it online. You can do it online. There's a web hub.
What's it called?
It's called In the Life at the Legacy Project, UCLA.
Oh, that's In the Life at the Legacy Project. It was an
Yeah.
extraordinary show. So
Thank you.
what was the next thing you did after that?
I think
I love process and how people
Okay,
process
so my
things.
first venture was really just a small involvement with an off-Broadway version of David Sedaris' Santaland.
I know David Sedaris, I don't know this
Okay.
play.
By a young producer named David Stone, who you may have heard of,
I have.
and David Binder. And then it was a slow progression. You know, my first Broadway show was the original revival of A Raisin in the Sun with Audra McDonald, Felicia Rashad, and oh yes, Diddy.
Sean Diddy Combs. Now, when did you create Mom's Money?
Somewhere in there, Mom's Money Productions.
I mean,
I had
did she-
another
did-
corporation,
But
but
did she have anything to do with the original In the Life?
no.
No. So it was
I mean,
later on.
It was later on. It was for commercial ventures.
Because I love Mom's Money Productions. It's just so smart. It says so much about how smart you are
Thank you.
and how to play it on, to give back. It says so much in just one little thing. I'm not surprised Donna Karan was drawn to that too.
That's right. We had that conversation with her that time. Yeah, it's sort of a tip of my hat to my mother, and to a lot of women. You know, we're in a time where finally, hopefully, we're going to get a little push to that.
Was it a challenge doing A Raisin in the Sun with Diddy?
No, he was actually quite remarkable. You know,
In terms of how hard he worked, right?
He worked like a trooper. And until practically performance last, he had Susan Bateson in the audience taking notes and working with her to improve his performance. We had to pull him off stage one night because he was running such a high fever and didn't want to not go on.
And you had to put an understudy in, you had to
Yeah.
pull him off and say, the understudy.
There was another night, there's a scene where he eats breakfast and we had real scrambled eggs and we almost lost him on that one, so we stopped with the real food. But he really was a trooper, you know. He went anywhere we asked him to go to do press. And he was a great inspiration to young kids who had never been in a theater before.
Yeah, you brought so many different people into the theater
Yeah.
to see that production that had never been to the theater.
Yeah.
A lot
It
of
was very
African
exciting
American
to
audiences
stand
too.
in the back or sit in different places in the house and watch.
You had what?
To stand in the back of the theater or sit in different places in the house and watch, you know, a variety of new audience come in.
And so what was your next production after that?
33 Variations.
Oh, with Jane Fonda, wow.
Written and directed by Moises Kaufman.
That was a
So,
cool piece.
yeah.
That was really good. Was Jane interesting to work with?
She was. She's in some ways very private, but I think also very shy.
She says she's a shy person.
She is.
She always
She
says
truly is. She
Are you
truly
a shy
is.
person?
I am.
Because I'm a shy person.
Yeah, nobody believes I'm a shy
No one
person if
believes I
they
am
know me,
either.
but it comes out very strangely in me.
So you could recognize it in her.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think that's interesting when you have people that are really famous and are out there, you know, working in what we do, and they say they're shy people. Because I like to say I'm an extroverted introvert, which means I have to work hard at being extroverted and get
Oh,
out of my
absolutely.
shyness, which means it's hard work and I'm tired afterwards.
It is very hard work. And you're out there all the time.
Do you come home tired?
I do, but I sort of get a second wind. I tend to be nocturnal, so I'm up at very late hours.
So what was your next production after 33 Variations? You
You're going to
remember?
test my memory
No,
now.
well, I'm just trying. We have about a minute, and I want to save 30 seconds to show this, the sound inside.
Let's just say this. I'm really proud of everything I've done, the ones that you know, are lesser known as well as the ones that have taken the awards. And I'm happy to say that last season, and hopefully continuing, it's been a great time for plays. You know, I've certainly done musicals and done well with them, but I love plays, and I think this is the right time again for them.
Well, and now we have a 30-second clip from The Sound Inside with Mary Louise Parker. It's an Adam Rapp new play. It's a two-hander, and it's going to Studio 54 in the fall. Here we go. Let's have it.
Mary Louise Parker in The Sound Inside on Broadway.